Namaste, my friends. How y'all doing? I just got done with a beautiful yoga session. Really decided to do yin yoga today. I woke up feeling a little lethargic. It's my weekend, so I stayed up in bed until like 10:30. I'm usually up at like 4. I'm out of bed at 4, so I really like slept in. And to be fair, I did sleep later the night before, so um, I got up, felt lethargic, and then I just started doing yoga, and I was just going with yin yoga. I was in a lethargic state, so I was like, I'm gonna embrace this and really just take it easy, take it slow, not shock myself and try to do really fast-paced vinyasa flow um, yoga session. Um, and one thing that I really noticed as I'm developing my yogic habit and really training my mind is that yin yoga, it's starting to become easier to keep my mind on the breath. And like I said before, it's pretty much harder in yin yoga because you are in a pose for a much longer time and it becomes more of a meditation because you're just like focusing on the breath. And the breath isn't speeding up. It doesn't require much more energy and focus to sustain. And you're not moving your body all the time, where that gives you, a break from being distracted because you always like gotta move and you gotta breathe. Whereas in yin yoga, you're just going slow and you're just with the breath. So I noticed that, yeah, my ability to sustain my attention on the breath is much better. It's not perfect. It's nowhere near perfect. I'm still getting distracted a lot, but I am noticing an improvement. And then one thing today that I was just really focusing on is returning to the truth. That's what the breath represents. The breath doesn't represent, the breath is truth. It is objective, absolute truth, in the sense that when you are in your mind and you are thinking about things, it may feel like it is the truth and you are justified and you're right in thinking what you want to think. But there's a lot of background things that are influencing the way that you think, how you think, what you think is right and wrong. There's a lot of social, cultural, and just the times that we're living in. There's a lot of influences on what makes you think what you think and what makes you think that what you think is the truth. And so it gets a little bit shaky. It's more subjective in the sense that you can never be absolutely certain that it is the final truth and the ultimate truth. Even science. The beauty of science is, discovering the truth as it is and incorporating this mindset that this is what we know now, but we know that this is not like the final one. There's always more to discover. Um, and so, what makes the breath absolute truth um, is that it is what it is. There is no social influence, there's no cultural influence. It's just the truth of your body being. There is no way for you. I mean, you could, have a stuffy nose and it's harder to breathe, or you might have pneumonia and it may feel different. But just the act of breathing and the fact of breathing is not. It's a very objective thing. Animals breathe. I don't know if what plants do is called breathing, but it's a very universal thing. It doesn't matter where you're born. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're human. The breath is the breath. And it's this final thing. Like, it doesn't matter the way a baby breathes and the way, from the first breath to the last breath. An old man who's like 100 and 10 years old and they're about to pass away. The breath is the breath. And the only thing that we can do is cultivate our ability to be with the breath, to be with this truth, this unchanging. Of course, it changes with your mindset. It might get faster if you're angry, it might get slower if you're deeply relaxed. So I'm not saying that the breath doesn't change in intensity and duration and in all the myriads of ways that it can change. But the fact is that it will still be breathing. The breath will be there from the moment you're born until the moment you die. And I mean, you could hold your breath for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but essentially, the breath will continue from birth to death. And so it's this like truth that will always be there in whatever shape or form that it takes. The breath in its most pure essence will be there from when you are born until you die. And so in yogic practice, in my yin yoga class today, I'm getting distracted. And I just kept telling myself, come back to the truth, come back to the truth, which is my breath. Whatever story I was getting lost in, what I think of this person or how this person did this to me and what this means, and, just all these things that I'm thinking about. I just started being called, come back to the truth and seeing the breath as the truth, and not necessarily like in the beginning. I would see the breath as a tool to escape the mind and to master my mind. It was a tool, it was a tool I had in my arsenal to do what I want to accomplish. But now it's transforming into, this is the truth. This is reality that I can trust 100%. My breath, I can trust so much. My mind stories, like, there's so many times I've been wrong. There's so many times I've misunderstood things. There's so many times that, I've had partial understanding. I don't even know if I've ever had like full, complete understanding of something, So it, the mind, I'm not saying I don't trust it, but it's more like I just want to come back to the truth of my reality. And that's what the breath represents, the truth. The truth. And the yogic path is coming to the truth, realizing the truth, being one with the truth, and taking the truth with you on your path wherever you go. And having the self insight to know the difference. So that was my yoga today, really, the truth of the breath, and why it's so important to focus on the breath when you are doing yoga and or meditation. And that's the other thing. Yin yoga is a lot like meditation. Namaste, my friends.